Hey, happy Sunday. I hope that wherever you are and whatever you are doing, you are having a fantastic weekend. I can't believe that we have reached the summer solstice and it has vanished already. The days, if you're in the Northern Hemisphere, unless you're like on the equator, the days are going to get shorter. But hey, if you're in the Southern Hemisphere, the days are going to get longer. So, you know, it's whichever way around you want to look at it. Anyway, if you want to find out why my t-shirt is kind of dirty, I've just realized it kind of looks a bit grotty. It's because I was doing some stuff in the Chicken and Garden Update. Go watch that now, if you are so inclined. Today on the Sunday Musing, I want to talk to you about looking after your vehicle. Obviously, because we focus on cleaner, greener, safer and smarter vehicles, it's primarily going to be a focus on electric in this case. But if you have an internal combustion engine vehicle, you have an alternative fuel vehicle that isn't battery electric, I'd love to know your answers in response to the question I'm just about to pose here, which is, what do you do to ensure that your vehicle stays healthy? Obviously, as a human, an ugly bag of mostly water for those who like Star Trek, we have to look after ourselves, right? We have to make sure that we eat regularly. We have to make sure that we hydrate properly. We have to make sure that we don't put too many poisons in our body, or maybe no poisons at all. Some things that we consume quite readily are effectively poisons, and if we eat too many of one thing, we can make ourselves very sick. Working out, something that we do. I work out most days, and some of you lovely people have noticed that I now look a lot younger and fitter than I did a couple of years ago in the middle of the pandemic, when I was actually pretty big. I am now struggling to lose more weight, but I am working out every day. I'm building muscle tone. I'm not doing as much strength training as I ought, but I cycle most days, or walk, or I'm out here in the garden doing work. So I try and keep myself healthy by ensuring that I put good stuff into my body and not any of the bad stuff, and I work out, and I try and look after myself that way and make sure I get good sleep. Obviously, when it comes to a vehicle, we have to make sure that our vehicle is looked after. And it's fairly well known that servicing requirements on battery electric vehicles particularly are far less stringent than they might be for an internal combustion engine. You don't have any tappet clearances to adjust. You don't have to, or your valve clearances, or whatever you want to call it. You don't have to worry about oil changes as much, although as we've pointed out many times before on this channel, oil changes do happen in EVs because EVs tend to have either an oil cooling in the motor, or they have oil cooling the gearbox. And yes, all EVs do have a gearbox. It's a single reduction gearbox that takes the output from the motor and normally changes it so that your wheels are going a little bit slower per minute than the motor. Because if you just bolted a motor onto your wheel, interesting things would happen. Not good things, but interesting things. So we have to make sure that we service our vehicles regularly. But of course, when it comes to battery electric vehicles particularly, there are other things that I think a lot of us do without maybe even thinking about it. Not charging our vehicles to 100% and then leaving them sat there at 100% full. Maybe not wanting to take the car down into the red zone when it's getting empty. Perhaps we try and charge our vehicle as slowly as we can most of the time and only fast charge on trips. I know not everybody can do that. I know some people have to fast charge all the time because it's the only charging they have. But for other people, taking the time and making sure that their vehicle charges slowly and safely and that the battery is healthy is a really important part of that process of making sure that their vehicle stays healthy. Maybe you are someone who religiously applies the over-the-air software updates when they're pushed, especially if it's relating to drivetrain power, electronics, or something else that could affect the vehicle's performance and lifespan. But I'm curious also if you go above and beyond that. Do you have, for example, a washing routine to make sure that the car stays clean, to make sure that the paint is not completely contaminated all the time, to reduce the effects of oxidization, to ensure that the paint stays as pristine as possible for as long as possible. Some people put ceramic on. I've got a ceramic coat on both of my cars. Sometimes people put paint protection films on. That's another way that they can ensure that their car stays healthy and happy for a long time, although that's more a case of looks rather than underlying mechanical bits. Perhaps you are someone who insists on a particular type of tyre or a particular brake pad manufacturer to make sure that your vehicle stays in pristine condition. Or perhaps you're someone who's like, nope, no food in my car. Sorry, kids, we're doing a 2-hour road trip. You're just going to have your little sippy bottles and be done with it. No food in the car. I'd love to know what you do to try and keep your vehicle healthy and happy. The reason I'm asking you all of this is because earlier this week we did a video on depreciation, and earlier still Kate did a video on lemons, and all of that has been getting me thinking quite extensively about how we can ensure we keep a good value in our vehicles, but also making sure that our vehicles don't have problems, don't break down so often. And I know people who drive a car that is an ICE vehicle, and if something goes wrong, they just kind of brush it off and carry on driving it. I know people who drive ICE vehicles that as soon as that vehicle develops a weird thunk or a bump or something else goes wrong, they're straight down to the dealer demanding it get fixed. Conversely, I've met people in the EV world who do exactly the same thing. I know people who have EVs that they've owned since brand new that have never had them serviced, either because they don't trust the dealership or the garage, or they're old school EV drivers who have been driving EVs for years. It's generally the older EV, the more experienced EV drivers who've been owning and driving EVs for 10 plus years that go, nothing goes wrong. I just have to make sure all the fluids keep topped up, and I regularly change and rotate the tyres. That's another thing you might do for your EV on a regular basis. Do you rotate the tyres? I know a lot of people don't. I try to. I don't always do it with the truck because you have a set of winter tyres and a set of summer tyres, or at least we used to with the Dirital, and we will do with Ortegas as well. Switching out between summer and winter is generally about the time that I would normally rotate the tyres anyway, so it doesn't have too much of a challenge or a barrier for me. But I know that people who drive on one set of tyres, again, do you change your tyres every 6,000 miles, rotate them around? Let me know exactly what you do to keep your EV healthy and happy. And do you do it because your car is a tool and you want to ensure that it doesn't let you down? Or do you lean more towards I am making an investment and cars are depreciating assets unless they're really rare and whatnot, but generally cars are depreciating assets and therefore I want to minimize the depreciation. So is it from a financial, I want to keep my money in my pocket, or is this from I want to make sure my car doesn't break down and therefore lose me the ability to make money? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. I will be back next week as per usual for another Sunday Musing. However, just a bit of a head up. Next week will be normal, but the week after that is going to be July 4th. We won't be doing a 10 that week because it will be July 5th, 4th and 5th when we would traditionally be filming it. And I don't want to work on July 4th. That's not going to fly over here. It's a big holiday over here in America. And probably that weekend, things might be a little bit up in the air. But you're still good for the next week and obviously this week as well. And if you haven't watched The Chicken and Garden, go watch it now. Thanks for joining me today. And if you've got thoughts, make sure you leave them below in our Discord chat room, or you can reach out to us on Mastodon. Thanks to the amazing list of people scrolling by on your screen right now. They are some of the more than 1,500 people who help fund this channel through Patreon and YouTube. They help cover our bills, pay our team, and they make sure that we can remain 100% independent. If you'd like to join them and see your name listed here, just follow the links below. There are a range of different tiers you can sign up for, from as little as $1 a month, or if you pay yearly, just over $10 a year. A massive welcome to our newest supporters: Carol Bulawa, Rolfondo, Michael Owen, Winter, and Wilton Live. To join the list and get your shout out, become a paid Patreon member for your week of fame. And of course, if you'd like to support us with a one-off donation, you'll find links below to make Ko-fi and Bitcoin donations. We even have a good old-fashioned P.O. box that you can reach us at. Address you'll find linked below. And of course, if you're in need of some swag, you'll find our swag store in the down below as well. This month, we are celebrating Pride with an amazing new t-shirt design by our in-house artist and animator Erin. You can get yours today by heading to our Redbubble store. We've also got some fantastic content coming up, so make sure that you've hit the subscribe button on either PeerTube or YouTube, and we'll see you soon. We make new videos every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. If you want more, the mighty algorithm thinks you'll like this video, but we think this one is also well worth a look. See you soon, and as always, keep evolving.